Hello, welcome to March 29th, 2022. I'm Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. I do this every morning to remind myself of my life objectives and principles and to see how I'm doing applying these to my everyday. Namely, last night, yesterday, and to plan for the coming day. First, a review. As for sleep, it was an okay night. I did get up. It seemed like I got up and was awake for maybe 15 or 20 minutes. I didn't check the clock, but I probably were between 3 and 4:30. And then I just woke up for the last 10 minutes before the alarm went off at 5. So I don't feel so rested. Also, yesterday was a pretty heavy day. Even though I didn't have a lot of meetings, there's a lot going on at work. There's early on in my big project, and there's a blockbuster issue that I'm tackling that is not just on my mind, but it's in my action too. I'm took a lot of action. Well, yesterday was like, the night before was the night that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, and yesterday, and I'm sure that they were both kind of recovering from that yesterday. What happened? What did we do? I was kind of the same way with regard to the issue for my project. I learned about it on last Thursday, and yesterday was the first day of work that I was kind of back thinking about it. And, well, what am I going to do? I did come up with a plan. Timing. I need. It's funny how sometimes you need time to. Ideas need to. What's the word? What is it called when a baby is inside a woman's or a female mammal's body? Gestation, whatever that term is inside. The ideas needed time. I needed hours yesterday to think. And it's funny because it's like the way forward is so clear. The options are only two, just a few permutations. I don't know why it took me so long to come up with that. Anyway, and it was more time than I should have, and maybe my mind is just slowing down as I get older, which is okay, to be expected. Anyway, I did come up with it, and today is going to be a hell of a day. It's just a wall of meetings today. Fortunately, they're not all mine, and it kind of had flashbacks to my old job at Ventura, where my day would be just a wall of meetings, and I would be, managing all of them, and it was just so exhausting. Because you did the meetings, and then the preparation, and then the meeting itself, and then the after meeting actions to do, mixed in with all of the email and the constant change. And that was a tough time. I think I can do today. I'm feeling better this morning than I did yesterday, even though today's going to be a tough day. I'm just exhausted. Maybe it comes through in the camera. Just tired. Just more and more unique when I just fantasize about hanging it up and retiring. The longer that we wait, the better our retirement will be. The more easy our life will be. The pension will be better. But it's awfully tempting to go sooner, live a more simple life in retirement, but get the hell out. Let's do the good life. These 7 objectives are to always have my affairs in order so that I'm ready to die. My finances, my relationships, and my life's work. To make good use of my time, to not waste it. And to that end, I'm focusing on 3 things that would mark a good day. And those 3 things are, I actually talked about it with Yumiko over the weekend. A good day, in addition to doing my work, which is instrumental to a good day otherwise on a personal front is where I make at least one video. This video counts. I make one journal entry. And I read 10 pages. Pretty straightforward. I think it's totally doable. I did it yesterday. Yesterday was the first day to try. It's a good use of time, good use of my day. And I had a full day of work. I should feel very good. Yesterday was a great day to that end. Next is, the next objective is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Then to cultivate good emotional reactions, which I wonder about Chris Rock's action. I mean, not Chris Rock, Will Smith's action stepping up onto the stage of the Oscars and slapping Chris Rock. Good emotional reaction? Probably not. I guess it depends on what, how the values shape up in his mind, whereas being seemingly gallant and standing up for his wife may seem like a good emotional reaction. Sure, didn't seem that way. I don't know, it's an interesting one. The next objective is to perform good actions, and then to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities, and then to always just do one thing at a time and to do that thing slowly. So I've changed my routine a little bit. After I make this video, I get up, and while the video is uploading, I read the Bible. And then after I read the Bible, I go and I monitor, and the computer fires up, and then I go and I do the editing, minor bit of editing, adding a thumbnail, a description, and tags to the video on the computer. Then I'll step to my desk, do my journal entry, and then off I go to the rest of the day with it. Started feeding the dogs and myself. I already go downstairs and open the door for the dogs. So there's that, and then that's it for my objectives. My 30 principles are as follows. The principle of war suggests that I should always be fighting against propositions of truth, is particularly my own. Now the principle of reason and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, and doubt describe my frame of mind and my approach to life, how I look at things and evaluate whether things are true or worthwhile or false and something to avoid, or at least keep a close eye on. And then the Homunculus suggests that I don't have a soul, but I do have a consciousness, and I get it for a short while yet, a very short while yet, but then no more. And then the Anchorhold is an idea that our consciousness, each of them, yours and mine, are separated by a void, a sea of sorts, that we can never really be close. All we can do is shout across the waves to one another. Everyone is ultimately quite alone. And then the home of good and evil, right and wrong, are subjective values that we hold in our head. There's no absolute right and wrong to be measured in the universe, other than perhaps the seeming mandate within ourselves to reproduce, which seems to be, even that doesn't go any further than our genetic encoding, and that came about by virtue of necessity. It wouldn't have been otherwise. We wouldn't, more properly, we wouldn't have been otherwise. We wouldn't be otherwise. Next comes purpose. My purpose is my being a father and a husband, and sharing my written work. And the ideas in my books. That's what I'm doing right now. The next principle is the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, flowing and changing and forever transforming. And then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including you and me. And then the pirate ride. Free will appears to be an illusion, a quite convincing illusion, but it doesn't seem that we can really make any choices other than the ones that we actually made. There are too many forces jostling us back and forth on that matter. Reading yesterday in my book, Dr. Johnson and James Boswell on that topic, it seems that Dr. Johnson was not at all uncomfortable with that idea. James Boswell seemed to be convinced also that free will is an illusion and tried to make that case to Dr. Johnson, who basically shushed him out of the room and said, "Don't come back." Interesting how that great mind, and Boswell even said so later, that if Sam Johnson had just applied his formidable reasoning power to the case against free will, that he could have pretty quickly dispatched that. But then where would that leave him as a believer, as a Christian? That's why he was so, I expect that's why he was so adverse to even talking about it, and didn't even want to talk to Boswell anymore for bringing the subject up. Interesting. Next comes maturity and the sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude, which is how we live a mature life, when we remember our successes and failures and have the strength to pursue the former and avoid the latter in the future. And now comes the social principle. We need each other, you and me. We need our people. So I seek after them, and I do my best. And then comes public speaking, the idea of being very careful about how I communicate, using very deliberate, relevant words, and to never ever gossip. And to always, in my written communications, to review, to make sure that what I'm saying is actually what I want to say, especially in my role as a project manager, where clear communication is an essential aspect. Next comes the temperance, controlling my consumption of everything, food, drink, work, play, everything. And the sub-principles of suffering, simplicity, and apathy, because we suffer when we deny ourselves what we want, and we have to just bear that. Simplicity, because a simple life is a temperate life. And then apathy, which is a superpower, an ability to recognize what is outside of our control and to let that go. Or if not let it go, at least attempt to mitigate the impact, but to not take on undue sense of responsibility for things that are outside of our control, but see them as simply as such. Then comes the horror show. Life is a pretty darn terrible place at times, a lot of times. There's terrible stuff going on all around us, all the time. To people, our loved ones, our friends, our strangers, of course, and even our pets, and even wildlife and nature. What a place. The next principle is called that which must be borne, carried. We have to carry the fact of the horror show, the consequence of the horror show. We also have to carry our responsibilities relative to the commitments we've taken on, namely for our family. It's my responsibility to go to a difficult job every day and to trudge, do my best. Because I have responsibilities. I have people counting on me. It's the life that I chose. But hopefully, in a few years, I can take a break. And the next is the Feast of Offal, when we blow up our upset into the world and contaminate others. Again, back with the Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. That was the Feast of Offal. If his motivation was a venting of emotions, and just sharing to the world his upset, then that was an example. And everyone on live TV consumed that up. You can do it in such a way that it's a voyeuristic thing, but you can also do it in such a way that it contaminates us. Although the voyeuristic manner contaminates us too. Not a good use of time to either engage in the Feast of Offal or consume it. To be, the one that's dishing that out or receiving it or viewing it. Yeah, that was a Feast of Offal. Although he'd probably see it differently, huh? Okay, the next one is distraction. We distract ourselves from the great indifference, the apparent emptiness of the universe that we don't really want to see. Then comes the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing right now. And then the Path of Wildness, which is a way forward and upward into a new life, which is what Yumiko and I are starting to do now. We're starting to make our early plans for our escape back to Japan. It's fun. Then comes the risk of avoiding risk, the remembrance of that in spite of going after all the surface level risks of life, there's also the deep risk of not finding oneself and not doing something about that inner longing to discover, to create our voice, to make our story. If it's a story other than the one prescribed to us, which is the surface level risk. Then sin and damnation. And the sins in my world view are faith, hope, superstition, credulity, dogma, authority, gossip. I feel like I'm missing one. I am missing one. Oh well, I kind of did them out of order and I kind of shuffled it around. I did hope, all right? Did I say credulity? Credulity and easiness to believe, and falsity. That's the one I missed. Being untrue. This consequence that the damnation part is what comes of believing things that are probably untrue, that may be untrue, and gossiping. We damn ourselves in the here and now. And then comes complete oblivion. Since I don't think we have a soul, there's no God, no heaven or hell. Death is what follows, and there's nothing after that. So we're not going to see our loved ones again. We'll never have a chance to make up any differences that we died on bad terms with, and there won't be any final justice afterwards. Hitler kind of got away with his crimes. Anne Frank was never avenged. In a cosmic, absolute sense. Maybe even in an earthly sense. Now the great life adventure is one or more experiences in life that kind of become the cornerstone of our living, the centerpiece of our life, our identity. The season of philosophy is a time to record what we've learned, when they come. I'm learning more and more. You can force them in a way. They come reluctantly, though. Next comes the Bullseye Aim, striving at a goal and usually missing. Like I was striving yesterday to make that summary of that issue, and I missed it because I didn't do it fast enough, a little bit. So I gave the impression that maybe I wasn't on it, and that's okay. I have impressions I can deal with. The uphill climb, life is a trudging uphill struggle. Time to do it again today. But the higher we go, the better the view gets. It's better than digging in the side of a mountain at the lower levels. And I mean, maybe it's restful, but we don't get to see back. Oh boy, I'm tired. Arena and utility. Keeping my principles handy to use on a daily basis. Nothing is enough, but it's okay to have less. And the principle of happiness or fun, principle of fun, reminder to have a good time. And there we go. That's my good life creed. Okay, now for today, like I said, got a lot of meetings today. Only about maybe half of them are meetings that I'm leading, so I need to come up with all the stuff. I can do that, but it's going to be a good day. If I can get through today, I know tonight's going to feel good. I just wake up. I want to have a good productive, and also the allergies got me. So I just took my allergy medicine, so it's a double whammy of fatigue and allergies. But I know that if I get through today and do good today, then I'm going to rest well this evening and have a nice evening with the family. There we go. Let's do it. Be safe, but not too safe.